Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Hound. Hope everyone's doing well. So this morning, we are going to talk about some pieces that probably you guys, especially for those of you that have kind of searched through eBay, doing some shopping, things like that. Talk about a few of these coins that pop up on occasion that just kind of captivate your attention because the price obviously seems kind of ridiculous. When a coin pops up that's say $500,000 or $1 million, obviously it gives the community a little kind of moment to pause and kind of dissect what we have here. But I yesterday I had uploaded a short video about the aluminum Lincoln cent that that, believe it or not, I ended up with a few emails from that because of some of the parallels and the tie-in with the 1974 aluminum cents that the U.S. Mint had experimented on this different planchet in a way of finding a better cost-effective type of substrate to produce the coins on. All right. And 1977, lo and behold, there it is. One of the top two coins on eBay errors by price is that coin. The coin, to just kind of give you a little recap, it's an NGC graded Mint State 60. It's owned by Mike Byers. For those of you that don't know the gentleman, he's one of the top three error collectors slash dealers. He's right up there with the Sullivan Numismatics of the world and a few others that normally dip their toe into these super premium rarity tier of coins. And you guys know me. I don't traditionally go out of my way to do videos on coins that typically sell for this level of money. There's an unrealistic expectation that would be out there if I did do these on a regular basis. Unlike a few of my contemporaries that have no problem talking about the $100,000 mule Sacagawea coin or things of that nature. We're all pretty aware of that coin and its existence in the hobby today. But when we're constantly rehashing, re-uploading like similar content about the same coin every 6 months, it becomes a little disingenuous at that point. So I figured we'd do kind of like an all-in-one compilation video. What I wanted to do, because I had questions on a few of the coins toward the top end of the spectrum of the eBay errors that come up, we're going to just highlight and touch upon the top 10 that pop up. And you're going to find that a few of these have been talked about before. I've talked about a couple of them in the past, although I didn't dwell too much into it. And you guys know me. I'm a realist. I keep it real. I let you guys know that, in the real world, this is something that we don't constantly be on the lookout for. It's not the one singular goal that we're out there trying to look for, and just simply stepping over everything else in the hobby to find that one coin. It's unrealistic, and it gives a false message to the people that are getting into the hobby for the first time, because a lot of people these days, when they jump into numismatics, I think one way or the other, what gets them in there are coins like this, like the possibility of finding a coin that's worth six figures, or that $1 million coin, or things like that. There's a lot of romantic kind of feel in the air when it comes to being able to find some of these coins, and that's ultimately one of the contributing factors in getting new collectors into the hobby is the money aspect of it. So we're going to take a look at the top 10 coins. We're going to kind of breeze through a few of them because we've talked about them in pretty deeper detail than what we should. Like the first coin that we see here, one-of-a-kind discovery coin. It is a PCGS graded 1920D Lincoln Memorial cent. Obviously, the one thing that kind of sticks out on this particular coin is that it's not copper, right? And we all know our Lincoln cents. You know, these things should be on a copper planchet of some sort. You know, that is the coin. It's got a nice silvery color. It is graded by PCGS, although it's a details grade coin. And one thing I'm going to let you guys know, okay, it's not up to me. It's not any of my business to dictate what the values are of these coins. Okay, I'm not going to question the value of the coins because I've personally looked at the top 10 and they're all either unique or there's probably two of them available. Okay, they are very scarce, if not one of a kind type of gems. So in some form or fashion, they do command a very top heavy kind of valuation, whether that's a six figure, maybe this thing is undervalued and it should be $1 million coin or things like that. But in this video, it's not my place to say, oh yeah, this thing is way overpriced because of their rarity scale. That, you know, that's going to ultimately dictate how much these sell for. And oftentimes you're going to find that with coins such as this, when the time is right, when the correct buyer comes out into the marketplace, I'm sure they're going to contact the seller and try and work something out. You know, the price that we see here at $998,000, you know, may not be that value, is considering that this seller has a make offer option available. You know, maybe they might accept $500,000. Maybe it's $800,000. It really, you know, at that point, it's really a negotiation between party A and party B. And then, you know, these are, of course, the type of deals that you would go out of your way to take a plane ride or, you know, drive across the country to pick up. So, you know, that's kind of like the level that we're playing on at this point with these specific type of pieces, that they are truly like investment level, investment grade caliber type of pieces that are going to end up being part of a portfolio or maybe just a collection that's going to be everlasting. So in this case, this coin right here was struck on a Colombia 2 centavos planchet. All right, so I have no doubt in my mind that is quite unique. What we do know is that the U.S. Mint, way back in the day, during the era of World War I to World War II, they were responsible, specifically the Philadelphia, Denver, and on certain occasions the San Francisco Mint. They produce a good fair portion of the world's coinage. You know, of course, you know, these mints receive in batches of certain types of compositions and planchets, and you know, I mean, I could see it happening where, you know, mistakenly one of these planchets that's intended for, say, a Colombia 2 centavos planchet ends up with the Lincoln cents, okay, because they're just that size. Maybe one piece had fallen on the floor during production, you know, because if we're talking about the quality of production during the 1920s compared to what it is today, I would assume that, you know, some of these planchets at some point would fall on the floor, they'd roll under a machine press, under a rolling cart, things like that. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's totally possible, okay? And, you know, these are the type of coins that ultimately carry an absorbent amount of value, you know, especially over the long term. These things are just going to continuously go up in value because there is only one in existence of that coin struck on that planchet. So, you know, I mean, I have to throw this in there. If you do come across something like this that's struck on a completely different planchet, whether it's a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger, you know, things of that nature, certainly, you know, be cognizant that, you know, it could be something extraordinary. All right, so we have this one here. Pretty cool coin in spite of the scratch. You know, it's just something really neat. Of course, we talked about the 1977 Lincoln cent. If you guys clicked into this particular offering here, you're going to see the write-up that Mr. Byers had added to the body of the listing. It's a really great read. There are some things that even I didn't know before yesterday. I ended up reading through it, and I think you guys will get a little bit of a history lesson on some of the things that were going on. But in no simple terms, he did say that this was probably a coin that was intentionally made, all right? One of those U.S. Mint shenanigans that we hear so much about, a backdoor job or what have you. But obviously, the coin is in his possession and it's legal to own. So there you go. $500,000. Of course, you can't understate the amount of watchers on these, 359 watchers. That's quite a bit. A lot of people are just really seeing, is this coin going to sell? So, and then, of course, that grade is kind of funny. Not many grading companies actually use mid-state 60 as far as that numerical grade so much anymore. So, that's going to be an interesting sale when it does occur, and it's bound to happen with the way commodities are going hot right now. And, these coins will have, again, they'll have a home in some place, in some capacity. They all do. Now, this one right here is quite interesting, considering that there are two in existence. It's an 1885 Morgan dollar that was struck on aluminum. Could this sounds pretty much like the Lincoln cent that we just talked about beforehand, in that this particular coin is is intentionally done. An inside job, so to speak. They're all inside jobs, right? Whether it's a correctly minted coin that was intended for circulation or proof. But yeah, this is a wild one right here. Now, this particular example, I don't even know what this is here. That's odd. This is just a mercury dime that sold for $364,000, but it has nothing to do with the Morgan dollar. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Here's the 1974 Lincoln cent struck in aluminum for 200 grand. All right. Okay. Well, whatever. This Stuart Blay red copper. So I don't know how that plays into the Morgan dollar, unless we're talking about high rarities here. But yeah, these things, as you guys know, should have been struck on 90% silver planchets, or some people call them planchettis. But we have a coin here, $300,000, that is available from the company Certified City Net, which is actually one of the bigger coin dealers for things of this rarity and this ilk. So only two known, both 1885s. This one offered is the top or the highest graded piece. The 5 mintage 1885 trade dollar CUs for $3.5 million in this grade. Which kind of helps support the $300,000 price tag for this one here. Aluminum, I bet you guys didn't know this. Aluminum was the most valuable metal for a few decades of the 19th century, worth considerably more than gold, platinum, and silver combined. So if we were to look perspective-wise of what an ounce of gold was worth in the 1800s, it is considerably less than what it is today. It's worth like $8-10 an ounce back in the heyday. So, I might be way completely off on that, but, aluminum was kind of like one of those compositions, one of those metals that was, being played around with a little bit more in manufacturing. And, for, this particular case, one was even trial struck onto a coin. And again, it's legal to own. Again, more write-up on this one from Certified City Net. Incredible. They compared the mercury dime and the Lincoln cent piece as far as rarity goes. But yeah, pretty cool. Very interesting coin. It's a proof 65, which makes it all the more interesting, in the lore of what this coin actually means to the hobby. And it's very unlikely that you'll see another one, let alone the second piece that is out there somewhere in a collection. All right, fourth coin down here. We have whatever, a 1950 something Denver Lincoln cent. Filled die. So this one has the missing last digit of the date. Okay, now this is a very common occurrence. This is going to be the only coin on here that I'm completely nerf as far as value. It is nowhere near close to being worth $288,000. I think if we eliminated possibly, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these digits and say 10, 15 bucks. This is where we're at. Some people throw on a really ridiculous price tag because, they can, and you can on eBay, of course. You guys know my stuff about eBay recently, about possibly jumping off of this platform, but a lot of you had said stick with it, stay with it, because it's a tried and true marketplace, and I'm probably gonna end up doing that anyways. So $288,000. Of course, they're gonna come across erroneous type of listings like this. Someone did point this one out, and he said, "Well, I come across these all the time." And yeah, it's a filled die. The filled die is filled with grease, and it's very impacted in there, and it's hard as a rock at this point. But the coins like this shouldn't even have this kind of price tag. Again, this is kind of like that false sense of market value on a coin that has no business or no place of being there at all. All right, so the next one that we have here is quite interesting. 1972 Ike dollar overstruck by 1972 cent dies. This one is really cool, but do you guys honestly think that this is something that was done in error? Or was this one produced by mistake, or was it intentional? I guess that's what I was really trying to say. But you could see here that the actual 1972 Ike dollar was produced, but somehow it ended up being struck twice with Lincoln cent dies. Okay, and how that even happens, because the striking chamber of a Lincoln cent is so much smaller, unless there was a malfunction with the collar or something or what have you, that helped created something like this. But obviously, if I were a employee and, we had an anything goes kind of day, or an April Fool's kind of day where like, hey, pick any one coin and, mangle it up as much as you want. And that really doesn't exist. Okay, I just want to let you guys know that does not exist as policy through the U.S. Mint. All right, that's something probably that would more get you fired than anything else. But yeah, if you were going to have like one of those type of days, you would do something like this. But yeah, a very unique coin, $185,000. Again, Mike Byers is the owner of this. You're going to see more of his stuff in this video. So pretty interesting piece. We also have the 1974 Lincoln cent mated pair struck by 2 U.S. cent obverse dies. I saw this one. This one is very interesting, to say the least. But you can see this one right here, 74S on 73 Panama, 0.10 Balboa struck with 2 obverse dies. And you also have this one here, reverse brockage, struck with 2 obverse dies, part 2 of 2. So it's a 2-coin set. All right. So they were, you had the obverse die of a Lincoln cent and then the obverse die of the Panama Balboa. You can see that right there, plain and clear. That were set up in the mint presses. And it struck something pretty wild. By the time it was all said and done, but you could actually see the reverse design of the Balboa on there with the crest and the flags and stuff. So very interesting. Again, another very, very interesting piece that has very, very deep undertones of intentional. Obviously, because how did something like this happen without you knowing? But yeah, it's very interesting to say the least. Again, another rarity. And then, some people have asked me, Sean, what are your thoughts on intentionally done errors? Are they worth more in the marketplace, or are they something that people are asking a discount on because of the fact that they are intentionally made? And that's a really good point. I really don't have too much skin in the game as far as being able to correctly answer that. Because when it comes to a buyer and a seller and that interaction, it really depends on what they feel like the overall value of ownership for something like this would be. All right. I really don't know, and that's something that, again, that's one of the marvels and mystery of the numismatics market, is we just don't know some of the market forces that go into determining what the value is on pieces like this. It's not something that we just simply open up a price guide and determine that, oh yeah, this coin right here says it's worth $20,000, therefore that's what it is. It's like, where's that price derived from? Especially back 30 years ago when, the internet wasn't really, a thing, as far as, online markets and auctions and things like that. So the next one that we have here, pretty easy to see why this one's here. 1904 double eagle, double struck, rotated 180 degrees in collar. This is just overall a very unique, very cool looking error. If we're going to look at the close up here, not too strong. You can kind of see the top rotated and double struck area of Lady Liberty right there. Just a really faint outside profile line. You could see a little bit of it also on her face as well. On the reverse, you don't really see too much. A lot of what you do see on this coin is on the obverse for that double struck. So the coin rotated 180 degrees. It didn't flip over after the first strike, and it never ejected properly, so the coin struck a second time. Again, one of those things that can happen in error. This one I firmly believe, because of its age, it was not intentional, which is good news. This is one that if I were paying an absorbent amount of money, I would know that this one is right as rain. So $150,000. Mike Byers, again, is the seller on this one. We have 1859 fractional gold, $half, clashed on both sides. I'm not going to click into this one. Fractional gold or gold rush gold type pieces are a very niche kind of collectible. Not everybody does it. It's a very small community of people that invest in these. Clash dives can happen across these type of privately minted pieces. Same way with Civil War tokens and store cards and things like that. So $100,000 is what's offered on this one, and not sure if it's graded, but we'll assume it is. We also have a 1612 German gold obverse die trials Matthias II coronation medals, PCGS Mid-State 65. Again, I'm not 100% too familiar with this segment of collecting, although these coins look bitchin'. I will say that. Can you imagine owning one of these? For sure. I would totally dig it, for sure. But again, I know very little about these coins to make an assessment. Trial strike, obviously. These were experimented, maybe to test the dies or things like that. But we're talking about an era, back, 411 years ago, so a different era, to be sure, in the production of coinage. So don't really have any say or that one, but it is owned by Mike Byers. I will tell you that. And then the final coin that we're gonna take a look is, this one's really, really cool looking. This is a 1943 steel cent capped die obverse. It's an AU detail, so it's not a straight graded coin. NGC, $80,000 is what we're looking at here for this one. Joe the Coin Guy. Good to see someone else other than Mike on here. But this is what this one looks like. It's, what looks to be a cap die strike with a little bit of a partial broad strike or something on there as well. It's got rust. It's a very rusty looking coin. And let's see, NGC obverse struck through cap die, mid-error, AU details, environmental damage, which is what they would normally call rust build up on there to begin with, especially when it comes to the zinc coated steel planchets. Environmental damage is the verbiage that they would use on something like this. So, if we are going to kind of extrapolate a lot of the information that we've seen today, obviously, 90% of the coins certainly are worth their weight in multiple gold pieces. And it's only going to be a matter of seeing one of these sell in the future, based off of the desirability and what an investor wants out of all these. A lot of high-end rarities that are certainly worthy of a staggering market. So, one day in the hopefully near future, we'll see one of these sell, or multiples of these sell. I'd like to see all 9 of them sell, minus that Phil Dye Lincoln cent, for crying out loud. Get that one out of here. But $80,000 for this one. Not really sure what it's worth, but considering what we do know, and I think I've seen similar coins like this sell on like heritage auctions. Like an Eliasberg piece, or something to that effect. I'm not really sure. That doesn't have the environmental damage. It's a very expensive coin, so it's only we'll just see if any of these coins get any hits. It'll be interesting to see at least one of them sell here sometime this year. Generally, coins of this price level, they take a little while to sell. So that's something to be expected. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this one. I'm Sean with The Hound. Hopefully you guys are having a great day, having a great week. And thank you guys again for tuning in on this video. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And stay tuned for the next coin video. All right. So long.